Welcome to this BC Strategies, Business Communication Strategies, or bcstrategies.com React video. This time we're going to react to the Zoom Enterprise Connect 2023 keynote. And if you're not familiar with BC Strategies, we are a group of elite independent analysts, consultants, and thought leaders. And certainly we have lots of opinions that hopefully will be on display today. Today, I am joined by BC Strategies experts, Robert Harris. Robert, why don't you give a wave so people know who you are? Welcome. J.R. Simmons.
Hello.
Hello. And David Maldow.
Hi, hi.
Who is also doing the video wizardry that brings us all together in this virtual BC Strategies boardroom. So, as I said, we're reacting to the Zoom keynote. Let's roll the first clip, David.
We're very excited and pleased to start the morning with a keynote from Joseph Chong of Zoom. Again, we got a packed schedule, so we're not going to do a long introduction. So without further ado, here's Joseph Chong from Zoom.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see you here at Enterprise Connect in person. I've enjoyed just talking live with people, having the opportunity to shake your hands, and in some cases even break bread together. And I've also enjoyed seeing my own team, just my colleagues from my own company, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that as well. What an exhilarating time to be working in technology.
Okay, so Joseph kicks this off for Zoom. I don't know, like maybe we'll just go into the first clip. That was just, I think Joseph's only been at Zoom for 6 months, so kudos to him delivering the keynote. And I think you'll hear during this, he has a bit of a cheering crowd, which I assume are Zoomers, or what are they, Zoomers, or I think of the dogs, my dogs, so I think of the Zoomies, but I feel that they're Zoomers. So why don't we roll the second clip, David, and then we'll get into it.
What if we could collaborate better, more efficiently, smarter?
Okay, so I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of what I call motherhood statements in this keynote. Those are like general things that we all know, like eat your vegetables and get plenty of sleep. Robert, over to you for just, okay, so Joseph started. So far, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that he's, that's what everybody says. To say we're going to do things more efficiently and smarter is a very generic statement. You could say it about everything from fighting a war to, in this case, working remotely and hybrid work, et cetera. So it really hasn't said anything yet. Where the proof is in the pudding, what they're actually going to demonstrate and show.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that is bang on. To be perfectly honest, for me, this was a keynote that had a lot of fluff in it. It had a lot of good words, but there were generic words. And in fact, as I was picking out these clips, now we're going to skip ahead like 6 minutes, because in the 6 minutes, there weren't really a lot of announcements. And so let's roll the next clip, and we'll continue through this.
At Zoom, we're all about helping organizations collaborate happy on one AI-powered platform, and do it in a way that's equitable, engaging, and empowering for your employees and also for your customers. And we're going to continue to double down on innovation that deepens intelligence, teamwork, and the customer experience. These are the keys to changing the future of work.
Okay, so there's a lot of buzzwords there. I don't think there's anything to disagree with, JR. And he did a little bit of wax on, wax off, which I think is a good throwback to Karate Kid. But so I don't know. So far, JR, like those are all good things. I mean, thoughts?
Well, yes, similar to what Robert said. You could take everything he said, put a different logo up there, same stuff would apply, right? It's the promise of pretty much every vendor at Enterprise Connect. Zoom is great at developing functionality and features rapidly, faster than some firms, but the keynote itself only talks about, yeah, we're doing what everybody else is doing. And in some respects, it almost masks some of the advantages that Zoom brings to the industry with their approach.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really good point because, the things that I'm saying, like the Zoom product set, to your point, I mean, they've got a lot of great stuff. I mean, Brent Kelly and I did that Microsoft Zoom, Ring Central, Cisco WebEx comparison, session at Enterprise Connect. And there's a lot of really positive things to say about Zoom. Maybe because they were trying to be at the eye level, at least so far in the keynote, they've done more telling than showing. And I think there needs to be a good balance of that. I mean, David, so far, thoughts?
Well, it's just, it's interesting to see, Zoom, they keep adding the O's in the Zoom for all the products they do. And I kind of feel two ways about that. On the one hand, it makes sense they're doing it because the whole platform, you see platform up there. We were making fun of platform, all the analysts, platform. I keep hearing about platform, but it is a real thing. There are a lot of companies that say, yeah, I'm going to wind up doing best of breed, but gee whiz, it'd be nice if all the best stuff was all in one platform. It's nice if I'm a Cisco customer, if everything's Cisco, if I'm a Microsoft customer. So yeah, if I love Zoom video and I'm using Zoom chat, maybe Zoom should be giving me email and contact center and everything else. So it kind of makes sense that they're doing it, and there's also this expectation that, I think there's high expectations. I remember when the iPhone and the iPad were new, everyone wanted Apple to make a car. Why the heck do we want Apple to make a car? Apple doesn't know how to make a car. Because they made the iPhone so good. I love the iPhone so much. I want them to make a car now. And so we have this expectation that, when Zoom gets email right, it's going to be the best email. And when Zoom does, because they do things well. So do we want them doing everything? I guess we do.
Okay, so let's go. I think, Joseph introduces Smita, who is the Chief Product Officer, and she's going to talk about, I think, more about AI, which I think everybody in their keynote talked about AI, although I think with Amazon, when we did the React video, they never, as far as I know, they never said AI, they always said machine learning, but everybody else said AI. So let's hear Zoom's take on artificial intelligence.
It is an amazing time for AI. We are as excited as anyone to see all the advances in large language models and innovations and how those can apply to making AI an even more of a driving force in making our customers' organizations even more productive. At Zoom, we have been innovating with AI for years. It is not new to our DNA. AI has been an area of continuous investment for us. It is core to how we help our customers and their organizations.
Okay, so this was similar, and I think it was good. It was similar to the Cisco keynote, where they went back and said, hey, AI isn't new. It's always been behind the scenes. We've got this wonderful foundation of that. And I think it is true. But even if it's not true, it's like every vendor, I think, feels they have to say that. So I don't know. Robert, what do you think about the proven history of AI impact across the Zoom products?
Well, I'd imagine they use some machine learning for voice quality and probably have for years, but really the hype was around large language models, which is a completely different type of AI. So you're right. Anybody can say we use AI in the broad sense. I think what she says later on, I don't know if we get to that, it's really clear that they're latching on to a lot of the large language models and trying to use that inside. I do have to say, in all fairness, as far as the platform question we were talking about earlier, I think that vendors are right to to try and make that a differentiator. To some degree, Zoom's become a little more secure, and in that case, harder to use. And Microsoft Teams has become easier to use. So it's the basic video platforms have become very commoditized. So they need some new differentiator to have people pick one over another rather than just defaulting to whatever comes with their whole Office suite.
Yeah, no, absolutely well said. So I think let's roll the next clip, because that is where they talk about how they're going to partner up with OpenAI. So,
and to help you achieve these amazing outcomes, we announced some incredible Zoom AI solutions this week. Did you hear about them? Quite a few people did. That's great. We announced expanded AI capabilities for Zoom IQ, our smart companion that empowers collaboration and unlocks the potential of your people. We also announced our collaboration with OpenAI.
Okay, so this is where, I mean, OpenAI, like everybody can call the API and pass stuff and get, and that's not going to be a differentiator, because it's the kind of the same. So at least so far, Zoom hasn't done a great job of saying how they're going to leverage AI in a unique way. They're afterwards, and we don't have all the clips because it was really long, and this keynote I think it ran 10 minutes long. It was long, and the pace was a little bit slow. And they gave an example where they talked about this ultimate car that was a UC, and they used some AI to pick the favorite paint colors. And I didn't want to have to rewatch that, but I don't know, Robert, I mean, I know you had specific thoughts on the example was a little bit trite for me, and it took a long time to explain, but I think you had some thoughts on that.
Yes, I did. And it kind of, I almost want to say, just as a joke, I asked ChatGPT what it thought about this or that, but I can't believe that's still showing up in keynotes. It was a novelty, like for the first week that it was available. I will say, though, that in that whole example, you have a woman named Susan, who's the manager, who can't attend a meeting, and then she listens to the summary of it. She listens to the summary of a bunch of online chat, and then decides she's going to take control of the whole project, developing a new smart car in 2 months. She just responds using the meeting summary. And it reminded me of, I was talking to a CIO about a month ago whose wife is an attorney, and she said, oh yeah, ChatGPT gets about 90% right. And I'm very afraid of not knowing where that 10% inaccuracy is. In this case, the example that they showed, she obviously doesn't know her job, because she's asking the AI model questions that if you're a car product development, you should already know the APAC automotive market. But she's asking, what the APAC automotive market is. It gives a list of all the vendors you would expect: Nissan, Toyota, Hyundai, et cetera, except that's actually incorrect. I just happened to, by osmosis, because I worked as a technology consultant in the car industry, know that there's no such thing, first of all, as a non-global car company. And even in that list, as far as sales, Tata, she excluded Tata and one other Indian. Tata is number 4, by the way, in the APAC market as far as sales. And as far as customer perception, BMW and Mercedes are above all of them except for Toyota. So these tools that people think are going to just take over their expert knowledge really give sophomoric answers. You'd expect a high schooler to put, these are the Asian car companies on their, on their book report or whatever. But really, the whole idea that we would use these things for that kind of deep analysis. By the way, that answer was from Google Bard, because I recreated her question, and that was the one that answered in that syntax. Just this whole idea, it really shows kind of the limitations when Joseph Chong said, what if we've just scratched the surface? That might not be true, because honestly, ChatGPT is based on the entire public internet. This could be all there is, other than getting it more accurate and in better context for your company. you say, oh, we're going to do all these things, and where are people going to work, and so on. It's like, get the basic questions right first, and then we'll address those problems. But now I'm going back into an LLM discussion, so I will concede the rest of this. But really, it's that Me Too approach. I think it had a short-term gratification because there was so much buzz on the show. I think in the long term, though, more cognitive solutions, which means they actually really do learn and just not output a bunch of information that's pre-trained, are going to be more valuable for these tools.
Yeah, so this is what I love, and this is what I really appreciate about the BCStrategies expert community. Like, I love that you took the prompt, put it in, and figured it out that it was Bard. It's like, ultimately, yeah, like, it's like you can't fool kind of the people that know what's going on, and this was a bit of a Me Too approach. I think they did better in, when they started talking about Zoom IQ for sales, which I think is the next clip. So let's run that, because there's also AI, and then we'll get other experts to weigh in.
Zoom IQ for sales empowers salespeople to do more by using conversational intelligence to provide measures such as talk-listen ratio, talking speed, sentiment analysis, lists of most engaging questions, and clear next steps.
Okay, so this, I mean, that's, once again, that all sounds great. I mean, I don't, it's hard. They didn't really do, like, that could be a mock-up, that could be real. It's like, it's hard to tell. I don't know, JR, Zoom IQ for sales. I mean, it sounds terrific. I'd like to know all these things from my conversations. What were your thoughts kind of on this point in the keynote?
Yeah, I thought that it had the potential to highlight some of the features that might be a little bit ahead of the game for some of the other folks in the industry. But in a lot of respects, it's like, I think that's what we can see if it's channeled properly from other sources. And it just wasn't inspiring. It might have had the feature and the functionality that is curiously, tell me more kind of thing. But the keynote itself didn't, inspire me to jump right in and endorse using it right away and everything else. And going back one step,
Yep.
They said early on that AI has been a fundamental part of Zoom from the beginning, and yet this week they're announcing a partnership with OpenAI. So it's almost like they're acknowledging that although we've been using AI, we have to partner with other opportunities and options to really make all this work anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. David, like, sometimes you have a slightly different take on things. So far, what are you thinking about this AI and Zoom?
I think Zoom actually has a compelling AI story. I don't think it was told well here. I follow Zoom very closely, and the problem with AI is the problem that Robert points out is I've been using ChatGPT a lot just because I love playing with it, and it's wonderful how it sounds like a person it tricks me into thinking a person typed the response, but no, it's not accurate. But there is some value and some magic to that human-like response. But the problem is we need the accurate information, and Zoom's story is that they've been doing the other part of AI for a while, the accurate information part. And some of AI, the background removal, how does that relate? Well, it shows they know how to do AI. Okay, the noise reduction, it shows they know how to do AI. Right. But Zoom IQ for sales is not new. I think that's what makes it a good story for Zoom. Zoom IQ for sales has been out for a while. It's tested, it's good, it's accurate. The problem with Zoom IQ for sales was it wasn't ChatGPT. It was the old AI /summary. You get a summary, no context. But adding the new AI stuff, that acquisition or that partnership we just talked about, that gives it the chatty stuff. Now we say, hey, I'm late for the meeting. What did I miss? Oh, David, you're going to be interested in this because you have a meeting later today. It has the context. It knows everything. It does that. But it has the accurate information because it's tied to the tested and successful Zoom IQ for sales that's been out for a while. So I think that's a winning story. They have the accurate AI plus the new sexy, what people like using AI, tied them together. They had the two pieces, but I don't think any of you guys seem to. I didn't get that out of the keynote.
Right. Yeah. No. And I think so. This to this point, this is like we have BCStrategies says this offering, this service called the Enterprise Connect Accelerator, where ahead of time, we kind of review what people, what vendors are going to present, and we give them feedback so they can refine it. I think Zoom would have benefited because they have good messages. I just don't think to this point it's come through and has excited the audience, right? What we know about the product set didn't really come from the keynote, where it's from the fact that we follow Zoom, in the past, right? So, okay, the next clip is, so this is actually, now I'm going to shift gears because this is a longer clip, and they're going to talk about their intelligent director multi-camera thing. And this is like I think it's a 2-minute clip, but I included it because, I think we're like 25 minutes into a keynote that I think was only supposed to be 20 minutes or 25. Anyway, and now finally they're showing some real product demos. And this is really, to my, way of thinking, what they should have been doing in the first 25 minutes. So let's roll this longer clip because I think they're really now showing as opposed to just talking about things.
Hello, so happy you can join us here at Zoom headquarters. Today we're going to talk about Intelligent Director. Intelligent Director is another innovation from Zoom, delivering increased meeting equity and meaningful team connections. What we're going to demonstrate over here is an innovation where we're taking 3 cameras in this space over here into a single Zoom room. 2 years ago, we released something called Smart Gallery. That gave us the capability to attach a single camera to a Zoom room and give you 3 different streams into gallery mode. Shortly after, we released Multicam. That gave us the capability to take 3 cameras to get 3 different vantage points in a space like this. Today, we bring those 2 technologies together using AI and Intelligent Director. So what we're going to do over here is you're looking into a space over here, which is giving you the bowling alley effect. And that's a complaint we get from a lot of our customers, is that it's not a true connection to the individuals in this space. Now with Intelligent Director, we're going to go and turn that on now. What you're going to see is now Intelligent Director is looking throughout the space over here with those 3 different cameras, trying to pick us up with the best possible angle in this space. Now, once it's done, it's going to pop us into our own quadrants over here, and now we have that meeting equity. Shane is sitting at home right now with his own quadrant, and now all of the individuals in this space also have now their own quadrant. My colleague Felipe is standing up at the back of the room. And what we're going to demonstrate with Felipe is he's going to walk around a little bit so you can see how the different cameras will pick him up from different angles. So now he's sitting back about 25 feet from the camera. How powerful is this? It just zoomed in on one of the cameras. We don't even know which one it is. It just does it automatically. And now Felipe is completely zoomed in. Caitlin, you'll notice at the head of the table also zoomed in. So that's very powerful technology in how we're accomplishing this, right? The best angle, the best possible view for each individual in this space. Now, finally, what we're going to do is we're going to have Felipe come and sit down at the table. The challenge here is he's going to sit behind my colleague Anton. Now, Anton's hiding Felipe in the meeting, yet Felipe's still here. So the camera automatically picked him up from a different angle, and now you can clearly see he's being hidden, but yet he's still in the space altogether. So that is the power of Intelligent Director.
Okay, so kudos, because finally a real demo and a really impressive demo. I'm just going to say, I don't know how many rooms are going to have 3 cameras, but I think that there's phenomenal use of AI and a great demo. But I don't know, like David, you're kind of, I'm going to go to you first because let's do video. You're the video guy. So this to me, this is what I was waiting for.
This is interesting. And, the one point I feel like, oh my God, we talked about this so much, meeting equity, but it really is a problem. When we're at home, we've all learned to look nice at home. We all frame ourselves looking like a news broadcaster. And in a meeting, you do get that bowling alley, and it is still a problem, even though we've written a million articles about it and done a million videos about it. And I'm not sure what the solution is going to be, but I feel like we've for a while, we've been leaning on the hardware vendors, telling the hardware vendors, make your cameras do this, make your cameras do that, make your cameras zoom, whether it's actual moving and zooming or whether it's done in software. And I think at this point, Zoom and its competitors are saying, you know what? It's our meetings. Maybe we should, maybe we should be fixing this problem independent of what the cameras do. But now we're going to run into a situation where if the cameras are trying to do it and Zoom is also trying to do it, are they going to have to? I feel like we've been working on this for a couple of years, and it still feels like we're at the early stages. But I'm glad that people are taking it seriously. It's not just meeting equity. That's a good marketing thing. No, it's a problem.
So Robert, thoughts on this?
I gave that demo a thumbs down, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It was first he mentioned at the end it was pre-recorded. And I had noticed something that they looked very stiff and no one smiled. I actually thought the guy in the middle was just a screenshot. I was trying to figure that out when I first saw it because I thought, okay, so this solution is they have to sit there frozen, to make sure as the one guy who's gonna activate the AI gets up. This is all pre-recorded, remember? So, and there's a bunch of wires in the back, so they threw it together in the room. They're not using it in production, and I noticed that, and I noticed them not smiling first before I noticed how just like stiff they were. And it's like, okay, get the one guy to move, and then it'll adjust the camera, and then you can see him behind the other guy. Very impressive. If it really works like that in real life, I would not be convinced from this pre-recorded demo that it works anything like that in real life and that it's ready for production in the way that they tried to communicate it.
See, this is what I love about the experts. Like I'm like saying, finally they do a demo, thumbs up, you're giving it a thumbs down. Over to you, JR. What are you going to sideways? I don't know.
Yeah, actually kind of, yes. I mean, you had mentioned how many rooms might have 3 cameras. Well, we've gone from a 1 camera to a 2 camera system in a lot of rooms that are not, the smaller huddle rooms or whatever you call them, specifically so that one of the cameras could find who's speaking and zoom in on that person. Quite frankly, I mean, they talk about equity of everybody in the room, but do I really need to see all the people in the room who are, scratching their chin, sipping their coffee and everything else? The speaker, yes, I want to be able to focus on the speaker. But if you were sitting in that room, who would you be looking at? Would you be looking at every single person one at a time? And you'd be looking at the speaker. So is it better? It has some potential. It's interesting. Could we put a 3rd camera in? Sure, cameras are not that expensive. And as mentioned, if the software is driving it, not camera software, maybe they could figure it all out. I still don't know just how great it is, only because I don't need, even when I'm doing everybody at home Zoom video, I don't need to really see everybody every moment the whole time. It's the speaker. When somebody's talking, you look at them.
Okay, no, that's a good point. I think in the Cisco keynote, correct me if anybody knows, but I'm pretty sure they did a similar kind of thing. And what I would say for the Cisco keynote is, okay, the people that they had, they were all beautiful people and they were smiling, to your point, Robert, and they were very engaging, right? So, I mean,
smiles,
it's not
everyone
like any
smiles.
meeting that I go to, but it's like, I feel like Zoom used actual real people, right? So, okay, so let's go. I think the last clip is kind of, Joseph's wrap up, and then we'll give it kind of we'll go around the table and get our overall thoughts.
So we covered a lot here. The future of work is constantly evolving, and there's a lot of opportunities to make employees and customer experiences better. All of our new launches for EC are shown here, and I want to call out that we've got workforce engagement management, a solution to help contact center leaders better coach their teams and streamlining their operations, launching in beta next month. We're also excited about our integration with AWS to develop AI next-gen productivity apps and machine learning to drive insights on Zoom video calls. And our ultimate goal is to provide solutions and developer tools that allow you and the people you work with to collaborate happy on one AI-powered platform.
So okay, so I'm going to start and then we'll go around the table. So I think, Joseph at the end introduced, it's like in your conclusion of your essay, like my English teacher, you're not supposed to introduce new facts. So in the end, he brought up like 3 new things that actually didn't get really mentioned before in the keynote. And quite frankly, I think that those 3 things were kind of interesting things that maybe they should have spent some more time on versus that ultimate car long example. So overall, I would say, Zoom has some really great products. I don't think that this keynote really highlighted those. There weren't enough details, and there was limited, demos. There was too much. I always look for a good balance of, show and tell. They did a lot of telling, and with some generic words that I think whoever said at the beginning, you could have replaced it with any vendor, because these are all good things. Increase productivity, increase customer experience, increase your employee experience, like all great things. But I don't know that they connected the dots for me. Let's go to you, JR. Overall.
Yeah, it was a keynote that would be easier to nod off through than many of the others, not just because it was long. And it's particularly interesting because Zoom is such a great leader at developing features and capabilities at a rapid rate. Their rolling out of new capabilities and features has always been one of their strengths. And it even helps to drive the industry as a whole, because they'll bring something else and everybody else is in react mode at times. But I still found that many parts of the keynote, like we said, is like generic, right? And then I also found it interesting at the very end. They started out saying AI has always been at the core of Zoom, and yet they're partnering with OpenAI, and now they're going to partner with AWS AI. It's like, how many AIs do you need in one platform anyway? They didn't explain also how that partnership and where that partnership was going to be. So lack of details, really.
Yeah,
would have liked more details.
Great expert point of view. David, over to you.
I think part of the problem is that they don't make any hardware, because it's so great during a keynote to be able to take some hardware out on stage and then do a demo, right? Cisco always has great keynotes because they always have some sexy new piece of hardware. Maybe they should bring their hardware partners out next time, because they do have some great partnerships. But yeah, you're right. They do have a lot of innovation and development that I don't think they highlight. There's stuff in Zoom. I'll be in a Zoom meeting and use a feature, and people be talking to say, I didn't know Zoom could do that. Like, yeah, no one knows except for me, because I click all the buttons. They have an amazing product, and they really need to highlight it. They're trying not to be. They're doing the best they can to not saying we're me too AI, me too email, me too contact center. It's everyone's me tooing everything. They're trying to have showing that they're doing it different. But well, from what I'm hearing from my fellow panelists, they're just not getting the message across. From the tone of this panel, it seems like they came across weak when there's nothing to be weak about.
No, and I think the thing is and to your point, JR, like Zoom has pushed, like they've pushed Microsoft Teams. They had backgrounds, then they had video backgrounds, and Microsoft Teams was playing catch up. So Zoom has been at the forefront of innovation, and they've been pushing all the other products, and that's been good for all customers, regardless of what platform.
Yes.
And they are really about, I know they said happy, but they do a good job with simplicity. Whereas Microsoft says, let's add 14,000 different buttons. Zoom says, hey, let's figure out what are the 4 buttons are that people really want to use. And I don't think that they leaned into that simplicity and, user experience. And so, but okay, so Robert, the last kind of wrap up words to you.
Well, I just would agree that considering who the company is, Zoom, that this keynote did not do them justice. If they wanted to communicate the things that they chose to communicate, they could have done better even at that. For example, they said one of their tenets at the beginning was that as a customer, your data stays yours. We're focused on privacy. Okay, so now you have these partnerships with OpenAI and other companies. How are those things going to work together? If you have some compelling story, that's what's stopping a lot of people from using these new tools, are privacy concerns. So there's a silver bullet right there. And even obviously, I would have appreciated a live demo that looked more natural. If if that really does work, I'd have to see it again in a more realistic setting. But that's compelling, being able to focus on different angles like that. The guy hiding behind the other person and still being on camera was very impressive, if it is really ready to work like that. So yeah, it's a great company. It's if they had a if they scramble a little to put together this keynote and it showed that's not going to hurt them in the long run, they've got a good footprint in the market and a good reputation.
Well, that's great. I think this was, I always appreciate the different perspectives from, all the BCStrategies experts. I always learn something when we do this. So thank you, David. Thank you, JR. Thank you, Robert. If you're looking for more information and more insights and more expert opinions, certainly visit bcstrategies.com, where you can find out more about any of these experts, our whole expert group. And until next time, thank you for joining us and take care.